Hi, this is a Yesterday's Moose production, and today I'm going to be playing a game that I've technically already played. What game is it? Well, it's a relatively new game from 2017, Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap. Yes, this is the updated version that I downloaded on my Xbox One. In fact, it's one of the reasons why I got an Xbox One, because this is my favorite Sega Master System game of all time, and it's been updated with high-resolution graphics and updated sound effects and stuff like that. So I'm going to be playing as Wonder Girl. She came for a piece of the action and she means business. She has been roaming Monsterland searching for the Mecha Dragon and has an impeccable haircut. Before you is the Monsterland. Overcoming various hardships, you've at last entered the monster's castle. Your target is the dreaded Dragon's Room. But unbeknownst to you is the fact that the dragon has the power to cast curses on his enemies. Here we are in the last dungeon, which is the first dungeon. At least it's the first dungeon in this game. In the previous game, it was the last dungeon. As you can see, the graphics have been greatly enhanced. Also has updated sound effects and music, which is from a full orchestra with real instruments played by real people. It's not a synthesizer. There's a few little differences in some of the enemy placements in this version and the layout of some of the things, but it's pretty much the same. Here we have the Mecha Dragon, which I suppose is the first boss, but I never really think of him as the first boss because it's just the boss that you have to defeat to get things started. So I always considered the first boss to be the Mummy Dragon. But that aside, this battle is very easy to win. I've also found out that in the original version you can get a game over during this part. In this one you can also get a game over during this part of the game. I didn't really know that until I tried testing it out. It's also a good idea to try to get as much money as possible during this section, because you want to be able to buy stuff at the first opportunity. There we have the first transformation of the game, which is Lizard Girl. Yes, cannot tell that it's a girl, but it is, because I'm Wonder Girl. So therefore this is Lizard Girl. In fact, I just sent a tweet to Lizard Cube to let them know that possibly they should change it so that it would reflect that. So that the game, it would refer to this transformation as Lizard Girl, and so on and so forth for the remaining transformations. We'll see if that happens. Somehow I doubt that they will update the game to make that change, but who knows? It might happen. Now, in the original Wonder Boy 3, I think this part has slightly more falling blocks, but I could be wrong on that. It's really hard to say. And it is possible to jump up on the right-hand side without all of these blocks forming a staircase, but I always like to wait. And at this point you can also get money. In the original game you could not get money at this part of the game. You also would not get any items except for maybe the key. Actually, you definitely got the key, but you would not get money. And I'm just waiting for this to start. And now, proceed with your adventurous undertaking. Wonder Girl: The Dragon's Trap. And here we have the village, which you should become very familiar with. In this part here, you can get the code that you can use in the original Wonder Boy 3, and that's pretty much all that's useful for. Also, over here is a hospital where your first cure is free, and that will stay free throughout the entire game. If you never use it, it will always be free. So the first place you want to go is down here, so that we can get our first heart container. And I will be showing off where all the hearts are, as well as all the hidden treasure chests. I did this when I was Let's Playing the original Wonder Boy 3, and I'm going to do it again. And just like that time, I will be going through this game in a very specific order. Over the years, I've developed a very specific way of playing this game, and even though this is the updated version, the way I'm playing it has not really changed. That being said, I have made a slight adjustment, because in this version you do not need charm stones. Charm stones are a part of the game, but you do not need them to buy stuff in the shops. In a bonus video, I will show off all the charm stone locations, how to get them, where they are. There are lots of videos like that on the internet, but I haven't made one yet, so that makes it better. And this area of the game here, I think it was called the beach. I missed the title card there. But it's probably maybe my favorite background music. By the way, you want to go down here. The reason is because there's going to be a room that you can go to get a treasure chest. It's not exactly hidden, but it's definitely not extremely obvious that it's there. Now, I haven't done this in a while. I will be doing a little bit of a Let's Play and Learn for this game, because there's a few things that I wanted to mention about this game that I didn't really take the time to mention when I was playing the original Wonder Boy 3. By the way, I will be, from this point, pretty much referring to it as the original game, because that's what it is. One of those things is useful to mention is some people have played this game on the TurboGrafx 16, and yes, it does indeed exist on the TurboGrafx 16. However, it is called The Dragon's Curse, and the reason for that is because Hudson Soft was given the license to make Wonder Boy games. The only catch is they were not allowed to use Wonder Boy as a character. So they would change the name of the game, change the name of the main character. One of the most famous examples of this is Master Higgins in Adventure Island. Many people say, hey, well, that game was out for the NES. Well, it in fact was originally a Wonder Boy game and was later made on the Nintendo system by Hudson Soft as Adventure Island, and it actually spun off into its own series of games which were not based on Wonder Boy. Now, personally, I think Wonder Boy is the more superior game. That being said, I think that Adventure Island is more well known, at least in North America, because of the popularity of the NES. By the way, I'm getting all these items and whatnot. I'm not specifically mentioning that I'm getting them. You can certainly see it, that I'm getting these things in the Let's Play. In the village, I got some items such as a sword and shield. I'm going to go back and... No, actually, I don't think I'll get the armor, because I got the armor here. And it's goblin armor and has a better defensive power. Now, in the original game, it had a lot less charm power, so you'd have to change out your armor to something better if you wanted more items to be available for you in the shops. But luckily, that's not it's not a factor in this game at all. In fact, it makes it easier to buy certain items that would have been unavailable to you In the original game, you had to either be a different transformation or have a lot of charm power. And in this one, you can buy them at any time you want, as long as you have enough gold. And I certainly take advantage of that. So this game is what is now called a Metroidvania style game. Certainly when this game first came out, the original game, that was not a thing. It was not called Metroidvania. I don't know why I keep saying Metroidvania. Metroidvania. That certainly was not a thing back in the day when this originally came out. In fact, that was one of the things that I liked about this game. I liked the fact that you would be able to visit areas that you had already gone to with new abilities and new transformations. By the way, we're in a desert now. I feel it's a good idea to mention that this is the path that we will take to go defeat the first official boss, not counting the Mecha Dragon. By the way, when those flowers die in this version, it sounds an awful lot like the Wilhelm scream. And if you don't know what the Wilhelm scream is, well, just search for it on a search engine of your choosing, and you're certainly going to recognize the sound when you hear it. It's a sound that has been used in countless movies and has become notorious. I would in fact say it's probably the #1 overused sound effect of all time. If I were to ever make a movie, I would make the sound editors sign a lengthy contract barring them from ever using that sound, and they would have to pay a hefty fine if I were to ever hear it. And you know what would happen? I bet they would put it in anyway. Just because. So full disclosure, I'm just going to mention it now that I am making this commentary after the fact of playing the game. Reason for that is because I wanted to do some simple editing, and it's kind of hard to make the audio sync up with the video when I'm doing editing. And that's just because of the way that I record things. I record the video and audio on separate recording things. The video is recorded on my capture device, and the sound is recorded on, I think it's called Audacity, which is a free software. By the way, you can go in here, get some more items, such as money and fireballs, and more money. Heart, revival potion. Now, revival potions, I think they might give you full health all the time in this version. I'm not exactly 100% on that, but if that is the case, that is definitely different from the original game. Because in the original game, you would get a random amount of health from revival potions. One thing that is consistent, however, is that when you die, you have an opportunity to get a revival potion from a roulette wheel. So if you're very lucky, you'll get one. Yeah, the sound of those flowers dying is definitely a little bit like the Wilhelm scream. Might be a little different. I don't know if they'd go to the lengths of putting that in. I would imagine they would have recorded a different sound effect, but I don't know. Could be wrong. There's another sound effect later on that comes up that is definitely similar to something I've heard. By the way, there's another heart. And you can go in and out of this door here to get money, and this will work over and over again. I would like to do this to earn at least 500 gold, something like that. It's also a good idea to note that location because you will want to come back there later. So the Wonder Boy series was initially created by Ryuichi Nishizawa, who made the original Wonder Boy game and apparently had some sort of influence into the making of this game, or at least he was consulted on it. Also, there will be another game coming out called Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, which was also consulted with Nishizawa, and it's kind of like another Wonder Boy game. I'm looking forward to that, and I'll definitely download it when it comes out, because I don't think there is a physical release for the Xbox One. So you get a key from that box, and that opens the door, and in the original game there will always be a key in that box. By the way, this is called the Pyramid Hall, and I said this when I played the original game, and I'll say this again: why are there frogs here? This is clearly a pyramid kind of thing. So why are there frogs? I don't know. I'm going to look that up. Maybe there's some sort of link between Egyptians and frogs that I'm not aware of. But I still think it would make more sense if it was cats or mummies or those dogs with pointy ears. I'm not sure what they're called. So the original game came out for the Sega Master System in 1989, and the company that released it is called Westone, which is Westone, and I always wondered if it was West One or Westone, and after checking the internet I found out that it's a combination the last names of the creators of the company, which when translated, one was West, and the other is Stone, so when you put those together, it's Westone. So that's the way you pronounce it, and it's good to know after all these years. Now I know that I was pronouncing it right, because I always thought that Westone was the correct pronunciation. Even though I wasn't exactly sure that's the way that I pronounced it. By the way, you want to jump over this hole here, try to avoid getting hit by the fire, and there's a hidden room. It's also a good idea to remember that area because you'll want to come back there later as another transformation. That room, that one right up there. By the way, in the original game you did not have to jump over anything. You could just go directly to the door. Here we are, the Mummy Dragon. Mummy Dragon who shoots out shamrocks. Although I suppose it could be green clouds. But they definitely looked like shamrocks to me when I first played this game. As you can see, the pattern is fairly simple. You can hit them in the head 3 times. You avoid him shooting at least twice. And then it repeats. And once again, you want to collect as much money as possible, which I'm not really doing that well right now. Avoiding that flame is fairly tricky, and I definitely did not get all of the money. But here I am, I'm Mouse Girl now. And if this were the original game, there would have been a key in there, but there isn't. So I'm just going to exit out. Want to avoid getting hit by this baddie. And in this version, you just have to press the directional pad towards what you want to stick on, those mouse blocks there, which are the checkered blocks. When you get to these type of areas, you always want to check all of the doors. I don't think you need the dancing shield, so I'm not going to get it because there's a more powerful shield that's coming up. I may not always buy the best items, but I'm going to do my best. Some of the things I've started buying out of habit, and I've been trying to break that habit. There are some things that I'm still learning about this game. In fact, when I played the original game in the Let's Play, I mentioned it. I'll mention it again when it comes up. By the way, there's the Night Shield, which is a lot better. You want to buy that. Again, you don't need charm power, you don't need charm stones, so you can buy it right away. So that's something that you can buy out of sequence now, whereas before you would have had to wait. And it is a lot more powerful than the dancing shield. And here we have the evil cloud with sunglasses. As I've mentioned before, this is the Lucky 2 of the Wonder Boy universe. And I'll make the same joke as I did before, because in the 1980s, the bad guys wore sunglasses, whereas in the 90s, the good guys wear sunglasses. Okay, that wasn't that funny, but it's an interesting observation. By the way, there's a hidden room. Get some money. So this game was developed by Lizard Cube, and it was apparently conceived of in 1998, but the work began on it in 2013, and it was announced in June of 2016 and released in 2017 in April. Also, there's another store, by the way. Do not need the Shogun shield, but you can buy the armor and the sword. Your inventory automatically equips the best item, which is interesting. In the original game, you had to equip all of this stuff. So the director of this game was Omar Cornut, and I'm not sure if I'm even pronouncing that correctly. And the artist who did the art for this game is Ben Fouquet, and the sound is Michael Guerrier. I'm definitely not saying that right. In the original game, the music was composed by Shinichi Sakamoto. So yes, this game was developed by Lizard Cube and published by .emu, or Emu, which is a company that's based in France. And I would say that you can kind of tell that with the soundtrack of this game that there's definitely a French influence on the sound. That's not a bad thing, it's just something that I observed while playing this. And as an aside, I don't speak French. There are members of my family who are completely fluent in French. There's also members of my family who are completely fluent in Japanese. I'm neither fluent in French, nor am I fluent in Japanese. I know a little bit of both, but certainly not enough to have any intelligent conversations. So that seems to be it for my notes for the Let's Play and Learn portion of Wonder Boy monster stuff. Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap. I don't know why I was about to say Monsterland. I guess I just have Monsterland on the brain. I'm pretty sure that this game takes place in Monsterland. In fact, I'm confident of that because it is mentioned. The Monsterland series of games was carried over from the second game, which was Wonder Boy Monsterland, and then the next one was Wonder Boy in Monster World, and then Monster World 4, which was with a female protagonist whose name I can't recall at the moment. I really should know the name of that character, but I can't recall. By the way, there's a heart. And also a place to buy revival potions if you need them. I've noticed that they get progressively more expensive in this game the more hearts that you get. And I'm pretty sure that that does not happen in the original game. However, I tend not to buy revival potions because I'm good enough at this game now that I really don't need them. But I just thought it's a good idea to mention that they do go up in price. And the reason I went down here is because there's a treasure chest here with hearts and some items. And also a revival potion. And I accidentally went in that door. I didn't need to go in there again. It's a good idea to stick to the ceiling a lot because those ghosts will tend to follow you and they won't move as much if you're sticking to the ceiling. If you're on the floor, they tend to circle around a lot, which can make them more difficult to hit. Now, coming up is a section that is slightly different in this version than it was in the original, and I'm not exactly sure what the difference is. I'll talk about it again when it comes up, and what I mean is I do know what the difference is, I'm just not sure what causes it in the game. And as far as dungeons go, this one is not particularly difficult. However, it does take a little bit of time to get through, because first you have to go all the way up, and then once you get to the top, you go all the way down and then make your way up again. And this section is a good place to grind for money and items if you want to. I'm taking a bit of time to get some money. In this game, as with the original, there's pretty much only one section of the game where it's a good idea to grind for gold to get items, and I will talk about that again when it comes up, because I do some fancy editing to cut out me grinding for gold, but I will mention it when it happens. Another thing that's relatively worth mentioning is that this commentary I'm making is a long time after the fact of recording. The first recordings that I made of the previous Wonder Boy games, I made those recordings quite some time ago, and also made the audio recordings either at the same time or slightly after, like with Wonder Boy 3. I added the audio in later, again, to make it easier for editing purposes. But this one I waited a really long time, and I'm not sure why. I think it's because I got distracted with other Let's Plays and video game recordings. By the way, here you always want to go up on this wall on the right hand side, that way you don't get hit by those enemies. Now here's a different thing. When you fall down, this music that plays. In the original game, it lasts just long enough for you to exit out of this section right there. However, in this one, it seems like Mouse Girl is moving faster. I'm not sure if it's because she falls down faster, or just because it's overall faster moving. It's hard to say, but it seems like maybe the character just falls faster. That would be my guess. I'd be interested to know why that was changed. Considering I've read that this game is based off of the source code of the original game, it seems like that would be a weird oversight. But perhaps it's something that was tweaked. So at this point in recording, I have also not recorded the original Wonder Boy game. I might be recording that next. And by next, I mean the next Wonder Boy game. I might record a different game, but the next Wonder Boy game that I'll be recording will probably be the original Wonder Boy game for the Sega Master System. I do not have the arcade version, but I do have the Sega Master System version. Okay, it's time to face the dragon. What dragon will it be? It's the zombie dragon. Pattern for this dragon is very simple. Just stay on the left-hand side, jump over it as need be, and then hit it in the head. That's it. That's all you're gonna do. Probably the easiest dragon in the game. Even easier than the Mecha Dragon. However, it does take a lot of hits. Your weapon is just not very powerful when it comes to this dragon. And slightly on the topic of recording, I feel like my voice is a little bit hoarse as I'm talking, so I'm not sure if that will come through on the recording or not, but if my voice sounds a little weird, that's probably why. Just my voice feels a little bit hoarse today. And I don't really have any drinks close by. I have some ice in the cup that used to be a drink. Alright, get some money. Give me some gold. Come on. Next transformation, Piranha Girl. Piranha Girl can swim through water. Of course, there's nothing in that chest. Oh, actually, it's a good idea to mention, if you save and quit in this game, the items in the chests, with the exception of the hearts, they come back. I'm definitely not certain if that happens in the original game, but 100% for sure it does happen in this game. Chests like this, where you get money and items, they will replenish if you save and quit and go back and try to get them again. It will all come back, so that makes things a little bit easy. Or easier. So that little side quest that I made back there was just to get some extra items. You don't need to go there first, but I do so out of habit. We're back in the desert, and the reason why I'm doing this is because we need to collect some essential items. You cannot proceed in the game without getting these items that are coming up. Here we are in the canyon. I like how in this updated version that these areas are given names. I also like that all of the animations and everything are hand-drawn. Apparently the new Wonder Boy game, which is called Monster Boy, apparently that will also have hand-drawn animation. It originally was, I think, called sprite animations or something to that effect. However, they decided to redo it in hand-drawn animation, and perhaps it's because of the popularity of this game. And I should have looked it up, but I'm pretty sure that these games are developed by different people. Again, that does sound like a Wilhelm scream, maybe just pitched up a little bit. And that's the last I will say about that. You want to have tornadoes selected because they are very useful for defeating the enemies in the lava. At this point you want to avoid going into the lava because lava hurts you. But that is not permanent because we shall soon get an item which will help us. And it's 100% mandatory because there's a section coming up where you can't avoid the lava. By the way, I just went for a lava swim. Great. I should not have done that, but I did. And again with the lava. Ow, ow, ow. Getting hit with projectiles knocks you back a bit. I think that the stronger your shield is, the less distance you will be knocked back. I think that's what happens. Oh, that is a hospital. I didn't need that, but I do need Dragon Mail because that protects you from lava. So you have to have this when you go into the lava because then you won't get hurt. However, that is its only use. It is not a particularly powerful... It's not a particularly powerful armor all on its own. Pardon me, I got just a bit distracted by what was happening in the game. So once you have your earliest opportunity to change your armor out for something better, go ahead and do so. By the way, those bouncy things, they did not exist in the original game, and I think they were put in to make that section slightly more difficult. To me, that seems to be the only reason to have them there, because otherwise they don't really have any purpose. Ah, now here is our destination. And this will lead us to a mechanic which we will want to become very familiar with. And I'll put on the Shogun Lamellar because that is more powerful. And here we go, now we can change form. What we want to be is not Lizard Girl, we want to be Mouse Girl. That's what we want to be, because we want to be able to stick to mouse blocks. So in the original game this was a sword, however in this one we get that. And what is that? It is a Thunder Ring, and what that does is it allows us to destroy these blocks. So now we can destroy those blocks, which yields items some of the time. They'll also clear paths when need be. That is useful for the game. Now that we have that, we'll also go out of our way to go down here. And going to get another item, which will be very useful. Oh, by the way, hidden store. This store will become important later. There's the Muramasa Blade. I'm going to buy that. Why did I buy that? Is that more powerful? I think it is. For right now, it is. And there's the question block. That becomes relevant later with charm stones. So watch the bonus video where I show how to get the charm stones and what you can buy. So I'm just going to continue down this way towards a block there. You can see it below. I'll make my way over there. And going to get a new item. What's it going to be? It's a new sword. What is that new sword? Well, it is called the Magical Saber, and what that does is it magically makes blocks, but it only makes blocks on these star things. So you can't just make magic blocks wherever you want. There has to be these star block things, and it's only useful twice in the game. That's right, twice. And by the way, this is one of those times, so it's only relevant twice in the game. Kind of a pointless item. By the way, fancy editing. And why fancy editing? Well, because my capture device only allows me to record for approximately an hour, so after 45 minutes I decided to cut it short so that I could just start a new recording and edit the two pieces together. So at this point I didn't do anything fancy, I just stopped the recording device and then started it up again so that there wouldn't be any funny business. If I leave the recording device going up over an hour, it starts to go crazy and record things in fast forward, which is really weird. Now, the reason why I'm going this way is because I'm going to get some hidden items. And you want to be Mouse Girl because it makes getting back a lot easier. So in the past, I would have waited until I was Piranha Girl to do this. Or rather, well, I am Piranha Girl, but I would have waited until well afterwards to go this way, probably after I transformed into the next transformation. But now I've tried to adjust my playstyle to go here ahead of time. Not sure if that makes sense. Short and sweet of it is that I go here sooner than I used to. And the reason for that is because I want to get items and money and stuff. Also, being able to change your magic just using the trigger buttons on the controller makes things a lot easier. In the original game, you had to go into the pause menu to do that. Having a button to change it is a lot more streamlined. So remember this place? I'm sure you do. So we're going to go back because now we can break through the wall and go into Secret Treasure Room. And there are 8 treasure chests. And you cannot open more than one treasure chest at a time. You have to go back into the treasure room each time to open another chest. There's no way around that. I thought that perhaps they would change that for this version of the game. But I suppose they didn't, because obviously you can't open the other chests. So I could have done some fancy editing here, but I decided to just show it in its entirety. I did that when I was Let's Playing the original game also. I wanted to show it completely because then you have a better idea of what you're supposed to do. Also, I'm making a bonus video where I show off all of the chests, and I do a lot of fancy editing there. So if you really want to skip everything and watch that and see what's in all of these chests, you can do that. In that bonus video, I do everything in the order in which I collected. I don't separate it. I was thinking maybe I would do all of the hearts first, and then all of the money second, but I thought that might be confusing for people who were playing through it and just wanted to know what was in the chests and whatnot. So I decided to edit it in the order in which I opened the chests. Now the reason I'm jumping over these chests is because in order to open them you just have to touch them. So if you accidentally touch one of the chests that you've already opened, you will not get anything and you'll be forced to leave. So now I'm going to go all the way back to the village. And I could do fancy editing, but I choose not to. The reason is because I am Mouse Girl, and Mouse Girl lets me go back to the village a much quicker way, so I'm going to show that off. It might be fairly obvious. All you got to do is make your way back into the pyramid. Once you're in the pyramid, you want to stick yourself to those mouse blocks that are just above me right now. And exit the same way we did when we were facing the mummy dragon. Just go in here, go into this door, and go back to the village. Now that that's out of the way, we can switch again to Piranha Girl and also get some other items. But first, I'm going over here. Reason for that is because of this shop. You can buy Prince Armor, which is a lot more powerful. A lot more defense power. And again, because you don't need charm stones, you can buy that as soon as you have enough gold to do so. Alright, so as I was saying, I'm going to change to Piranha Girl and go and collect some hidden stuff. Well, not hidden stuff, just other things. So once again, we'll swim up here. Now that we can break these blocks, we'll be able to go into that shop right there. And you do want to buy Lucky Sword. And I'll check to see, do I need this armor? Probably not, so I'm not going to get it. However, Lucky Sword increases your chances of getting money, or at least increases your chances of getting a higher amount of money from enemies. It is very useful for grinding. Later on, when I go to the grinding section, I use it to increase my gold. By the way, now that we're Piranha Girl, we can swim over here and buy an Aqua Shield. Apparently the Night Shield is more powerful when you're Piranha Girl, so I guess I didn't need to buy that shield. However, I did so out of habit. It is important to note, however, that some items are more powerful for certain transformations. So just because an item is not useful for one transformation does not necessarily mean that it will not be useful for another transformation. So it is a good idea to collect as many items as possible. Out of habit, I don't get 100% of the items because I don't need to get 100% of the items. One day I might go through this and actually collect all of the items just for completion's sake. But in this Let's Play, I, once again, like in my original game Let's Play, I don't go and collect all of the items. I just collect the ones that I want or need. By the way, watch out for these moving blocks because they will hurt you. And over here on the left-hand side is a hospital. There you go. If you need a hospital, that's where it is. I love the detail that was added in this upgraded version here. This upside down ship is a great improvement from the original graphics. In the original graphics, it was hard to tell that it was an upside down ship until you go inside of it. By the way, you want to go over here once again, avoid the moving blocks, because there's a room, the treasure chest, that you definitely want to get. What is it, you may ask? Why, it's a heart! Now that this game has been updated, I wonder if any of the other Wonder Boy games will be updated. Monster World 4, even though the protagonist is a girl, is definitely a Wonder Boy game, and I think that that could benefit from an update. That game was originally exclusively released in Japan, so not in North America. However, I had the opportunity to go to Japan many years back, and while I was there, I bought a copy of it. And when I got home, I was not happy to realize that when you plug it into the Genesis, it was one of the few games that was region locked. So it would say that you couldn't play it, so I actually had to get a Japanese Mega Drive to play it. And then once I did play it, it was all in Japanese, so I couldn't read any of it. Fortunately, it's not a particularly difficult game to figure out, so you don't really need to understand Japanese to be able to play it. In fact, when I played Wonder Boy Monster World for the Genesis, I originally played that in Japanese first, before I played it in English. And there is a section of the game where one of the bosses asks you questions based on things that you've done in the game. So I had to get through it with trial and error. I will be making a Let's Play of that game, so I'll probably bring that up again when I'm playing it. But it just came to my mind now. By the way, this dungeon that leads to the dragon is one of my favorites. I like how unique it is that it's an upside down ship. My second favorite dungeon that leads to a boss dragon is later on in the game. It's also a good idea to have the tornadoes handy because they're very useful for attacking things that are in front of you but on the ground. I think that the tornadoes are one of the most useful magics in this game. Another one would be the boomerangs, because as long as you have two of them, you're pretty much you'll never run out of boomerangs as long as you can catch them. because you can only shoot at 2 boomerangs at a time, and every time you catch them, you get your boomerang back. I think that fireballs are the most common magic that you pick up, so you can feel free to use those to defeat enemies whenever you want, because you're pretty sure to get more fireballs. And I'm defeating these enemies because I want to get gold. By the way, I got a big heart, which would have given me full health. I'm doing pretty well not to get hurt. I just noticed now that there are things outside of the windows. Fish that go by. That's a nice little addition. I did not notice that. I guess when playing the game, it's easy not to focus on what's happening in the background. But now that I'm just observing it while commenting, it's pretty obvious that there are little fishies out there. Oh, and leaking water. Interesting. That is neat. I want to get that to ricochet. Okay, I'll just use fireballs. Oh, by the way, I got another revival potion. Here's the boss, Captain Dragon. Captain Dragon has a relatively easy pattern as well, which eventually I will get, as long as you keep hitting him in the head. If you don't let him attack, yeah, then you just can keep hitting him in the head over and over again. There, just like that. If you do it correctly, he might never even be able to attack you once. And at this point, the money thing is still coins. Eventually, we'll get bags of gold. And now I have Lion Girl, who has a very unique attack style. Attacks from top to bottom. Very useful. There's some obstacles that come up later on where you have to have this type of attack in order to get past those obstacles. And I believe I'm just grinding for some gold, because we're getting very close to the point where we need to grind gold. By the way, bippity boppity boo, fancy editing for more gold because I want to get the Master Shield. Master Shield is very powerful in defense. And a hidden question thing brings us back to the village. Get some hidden items. And the reason I'm using this is so that I can transform back into Mouse Girl. And with Mouse Girl, go up here. And there's another shop. Gonna go ahead and buy some items. Trying to transfer, change back into Lion Girl. That's what I was going to say. My mind went blank for a moment there. So now that we're Lion Girl, we can use the special attack style to go down here. So it's going to snag us another hidden chest, which will have a heart. And once that's out of the way, we'll go ahead and make our way towards the new area, which is very close by. Just want to drop down here into the underground. By the way, if you want to grind for gold, this is the place where you want to do it. You go ahead and equip the lucky sword. Just defeat these enemies over and over again. You just go from right to left, defeat all the enemies, then exit the screen, go back in, and then make your way towards the right, and just continue over and over again until you have as much gold as you want. Having the crystal armor gives you a high defense power, which is something that you want to have. Same with the shield. When you go towards this next dragon, you want to have as much defense power as possible, because it's very easy to lose your health. And it's pretty much the only time in the game where it's absolutely necessary to grind. Although, that being said, I suppose you could get through it without having to grind. I think I've probably done it maybe once or twice, but it certainly makes things more difficult. And you don't really need to make things more difficult for yourself. And down here is a hidden hospital, which you can use if you need it. If not, you can just leave, which is what I'm doing. I don't really need it. And I seem to be loving the lava right about now. Bathing in lava is not good. Now again, I like the background here. I think it's really inventive. Plenty of detail. I'm not sure what's with the giant mushrooms. And the reason why I'm going up here is because there is a hidden shop where you can buy the Tasmanian sword. I'm going to go ahead and buy that. Whether or not it's a better sword, that is moderately debatable. Let's see, is it better? No, it's not better. The Muramasa blade is still better. However, the Tasmanian sword allows us to change our form. All you gotta do is jump and press up and attack, and you'll change into a different form, and that's what the Tasmanian sword will do. So let's switch back to the Muramasa blade. Although being able to transfer from one transformation to another on the fly is very useful. In the original game, you apparently can do that, but it's much more complicated because you have to have a second controller in order to make it work. And I'm still not sure exactly how to make that happen because I've never done that in the original game, even after all these years. Okay, now we're going to go into a hidden room, get ourselves some more stuff, grab some gold, a revival potion if needed. I'm still taking opportunities to collect as much gold as I can. You want to be able to have at the very least 3,000 gold when you're done this section of the game. Reason for that is because you'll want to buy some armor. And here we have, look, a sakura tree, which is a cherry blossom. And that enemy will always have a big heart, which will give you full health. And this dungeon that leads to the dragon is my second favorite. In the original game, it's not quite as graphical, of course. However, in this updated version, it is a lot better, and I like it a lot. By the way, these ninjas, when they attack you, their new attack sounds a lot like Link from Legend of Zelda, when he's Child Link. Either from Ocarina of Time or possibly the Four Swords. Something about that. Hua, hua. Now, something tells me that the makers of this game wouldn't necessarily go back and steal the sound from a different game. But I have no proof one way or the other, so I suppose it's possible. Here we are, Daimyo Temple. And apparently a daimyo is a lord from feudal Japan who's like a lord over shoguns or something to that effect. So when you face the dragon, which is the daimyo dragon, it's basically like Lord Dragon. Background in this temple has some interesting foreground elements. Background here is greatly improved from the original game. I like it a lot. Oh, I got a revival potion. Don't need it, but I got it. And before I go to fight the boss, I'm going to go to a hidden room. Because full health and revival potion if needed. And here we have Daimyo Dragon. And Daimyo Dragon's attack is slightly different in this version. In this version, he seems to attack from up top to down below, kind of like the lion does. However, in the original game, it seems more like he would start from below and swipe upwards. Not exactly sure why there was that slight difference put in. Perhaps the original was a mistake, or maybe this one is. It's really hard to say. You can, of course, switch the graphics in this game on the fly to the old style of graphics if you want. And I'm pretty confident that the attack style is still the same in the old style graphics. So I'm very easily going to defeat this dragon. The crystal sword, he takes a lot of damage. And finally I'm getting some bags of gold. Still a lot of coins though. Oh, I'm not sure how I avoided getting caught by the blue flame, but now I did. Okay, so now I'm Hawk Girl. And with that I can fly. Okay, that was rather pointless, so I'm going to go up here, and so I'm going to buy a very useful set of armor. The Hades armor. And what that does is when you run out of revival potions, the Hades armor will refill your health to its fullest. And in the original game, it would do that all the time, over and over again, and I'm pretty sure in this updated version it still does that as well. Still gives you full health over and over again. However, it is worth mentioning that I tested it when I was getting the charm stones, and apparently it did not refill my health over and over again when I was going for the charm stones. So it's a good idea that if you are going for the charm stones, that you go ahead and get the most powerful armor and shield, and also the most powerful sword. And what I was doing there is I was just maximizing what I had equipped. And I'm also going to go out of my way to go ahead and get a secret chest. And I didn't really need to go this way. I could have just flown up, but for some reason I just decided to bounce up. Now with Hawk Girl, you can just fly all the way to the left and completely avoid everything in your path. And the way that I'm going to do this is new. I did not know how to do this before. I learned it, I think within the last, within the last few weeks before recording this, I had learned about the trick. So I'll talk about it when I get there. And I think I found it quite by accident on the internet. I was just checking to see something. I can't remember what. I mean, I know where all the hidden stuff is, but I was checking for something, and I found out this trick completely by accident. So what you want to do is, as Hawk Girl, you go up here. You could go through in the pyramid, but you could just go up here and enter a hidden door. That hidden door will exit you there. And what that will do is allow you to fly just directly up into the secret room and get some gold. So some items, some more revival potions. And that's it. That's all we really need to get from here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do some fancy editing. We'll go back to the village. By the way, there's a hidden shop here where you can buy some revival potions. So that's a lot more convenient for buying revival potions. By the way, you do want to go to that shop that I passed by there on the far left. There's a key in there. If you don't have a key, you want to go in there and buy one. But where I'm going right now is to get this chest, which gives us another heart. And now I forgot to get the key, so I'm going to go back. I was talking about it. So it's a good thing that I'm showing it off now. Just go to this shop, buy a key and a heavenly shield if you have enough gold to do that. I don't have enough gold to do that right now. Heavenly shield has a lot of defense power, so it's very useful. But what I'm doing is I'm going back to the quote-unquote last dungeon and opening the door. Okay, now it's called the Old Castle, and everything is dilapidated. And the reason why I'm going here is because there's items here that we want to get. So as you can see, there's a few obstacles that weren't there before, like those glowing blue orbs. And these hat guys don't give anything, so if possible, you can just avoid them. It is hard to do so because of the blue orbs that kind of prevent flying. So we're going to go re-enter this door. There's no boss. We get a sword for our trouble. What sword is that? Well, it's the legendary sword, which is the best sword in the game. And what you want to do is exit out and go back in. This is the only place you can do this, by the way. And get some bonus money. Gold. Lots and lots of gold. And full health. That's it, that's all we needed. We'll just do some flying. Try to avoid as many hack guys as possible. So while we're leaving, we'll have an item given to us. We don't really need to do anything to get it. We'll just defeat one of these ogre guys, and they'll give us an item. There we go, got a new armor. What is that armor? Why, it's the legendary armor, of course. Which looks to be the most powerful armor as far as defense goes. And if you have enough gold, you can go into a shop which is directly in there and get the legendary shield. I am not getting it because the shield that I have on right now, which I believe is the Heavenly Shield, or am I going to buy the Heavenly Shield? Let's see. My apologies. I wasn't paying attention to what items I already bought. And I should have been. Oh, okay, here we go. I'm going to buy the Heavenly Shield, which is 120 defense power, at least for Hawk Girl. And you want to buy another key, because you'll need to have that key. And no need to go to the hospital, because there will always be a revival heart here. And here's the second time that we will use the magical saber. There we go. Now it is completely useless. No need to use it ever again. Wasn't that great? The Sky Palace. We're almost on to facing the final dragon. And I just like to let this music play out of habit. Now, as far as final dungeons go, I feel that this one is relatively generic. By the way, there's a hospital if you need it. Now, what I mean is there's nothing that really sets this dungeon apart. You do need to switch between different transformations, different forms to get through it. I suppose that makes it unique. However, that's it. Other than that, it's a very straightforward layout. There's no diverting paths. Typically, the final dungeon would be more of a maze. In Wonder Boy Monster Land, it was a maze. In Wonder Boy Monster World, it is a maze. But in this game, it's just straightforward, right to the boss. And I don't need to be using the transportation or transformation pads to change form. I could be using the Tasmanian sword. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one. But I'm just using the transformation pads that are provided. At this point, gold means absolutely nothing. By the way, there's the final heart of the game. So a total of 8 hearts. That's the maximum amount of health that we can have. Like I was saying, gold means nothing at this point. You don't get points. Gold counts for nothing. You don't need to buy anything anymore. Although I suppose if you wanted to buy all of the items in the game, maybe you could collect money. However, at this point you cannot backtrack, so again, it doesn't matter. Items are somewhat useful because you can use them on the final boss. Not much to say here except I'm using up my tornadoes. They are not too handy when facing the final boss. Fireballs are useful for facing the final boss. Lightning is useful. Boomerangs are also somewhat useful. But tornadoes, not very useful. Looks like I could use some health right about now. Oh, right, yeah, lightning would be useful for the final boss if I didn't mention that already. But I don't have very much lightning magic. Also, in the original game, this area was completely dark, and if you used your lightning magic, it would light things up, which was a cool effect. In this version, you have those candles in the background which are illuminating things. Oh, you used a revival potion. Pretty sure that's the first revival potion that I've used during this playthrough. Okay, the final transformation of the game, back to Hawk Girl. And we shall eventually get to the final dragon. I do find transitioning from one screen to another vertically in this game seems slightly easier than in the original game. In the original game, sometimes transitioning from one screen to another vertically was a bit of a challenge. Not sure why that is. You would lose momentum and fall down, something like that. Here's the final dragon room. Nothing left to do but face the dragon. The vampire dragon. Vampire dragon does not have a pattern, so to speak. Vampire dragon just kind of randomly flies around. If you're worried about getting defeated, you can put on the Hades armor and then you won't have to worry about your health. However, I'm supremely confident that I'll be able to get through this battle without using all of my revival potions. Oh, I just noticed that there's a reflection there on the bottom. That's nice. It's the little details that count. Also, no point in saving magic right now. And since Hawk Girl can fly, you can fly up and attack Vampire Dragon that way. I'm not doing that because it does leave you more vulnerable to attacks. But I just thought it's worth mentioning that you can do that if you want to try. Oh, will I use another revival potion? Probably not. Haha! Okay, defeated. And there is the Salamander Cross, which will finally return us to normal. Goodbye, Hawk Girl. So long, Lion Girl. Goodbye, Piranha Girl. Bye-bye, Mouse Girl. Good riddance, Lizard Girl. And we're back to normal. We are human. Or Hugh Girl. However you want to look at it. This music in the game, in the original game, made me sad because I was sad that the game was coming to an end. It was such a good game. And when the original game was out, I was not sure if they were going to make any more. Luckily they did. The long battlefield journey has finally ended. The tales of your gallant and heroic actions will be passed down from one generation to another through all eternity. Good night, brave warrior. Good night, Monsterland. Hugh Girl. Okay, it does say Hugh Girl. But it says Lizard Man. They really missed an opportunity there. It should say Lizard Girl, and it should say Mouse Girl. I sent a Twitter message to Lizard Cube about that. Piranha Girl. I refuse to say what it is, because it's Piranha Girl. Lion Girl. And finally, Hawk Girl. Time for the credits, which includes the original misspellings. See, original 1989 typos included. I'm not going to read all those off because it's going way too quickly. There's a lot of them. So you can read them at your leisure. So at this point, I'll let the credits go on. The next Let's Play that I will be doing will be Wonder Boy in Monster World, which is a Sega Genesis game. I'm not sure which version I'll be playing because I have a version of it on Xbox One, which is a long story. I also have a version of it on my Wii U in Wii mode, which is also very confusing. So I'll see which version. I'll probably play the Wii Virtual Console version because it seems to lead to better recordings. The recordings seem a little weird when I'm recording off of the Xbox One. This was recorded off of the Xbox One, so you, the viewers, can tell me if the recording seemed a little bit weird or not. So if I had to give this game a rating out of 10 moose, this updated version, I'd give it 10 moose out of 10. Probably because I'm biased, because I really love the original game and I really appreciate the work that they put into this version of the game. I think it's great that it was brought back, that it's available to people who hadn't originally played it. Kind of inadvertently gives a spotlight to the Sega Master System that maybe it didn't get before, because Sega Master System did well in places like Brazil, but not so much in North America. So with that, I'll just end my commentary here. There's not really anything left for me to say except I really like the hand-drawn animation. It's great. The music is wonderful. I do like the chiptunes from the original game, but they did great work with this one. Having it be a full orchestra was a good choice. So, yeah, that's it. Going to end my commentary here, but I'll let the credits play. So thank you very much for watching. This has been a Yesterday's Moose production, and I'll see you next time!